how to get whatever you want. If that were actually true, then why do people who are getting everything they once dreamed of still feel restless, distracted, and low-key exhausted all the time? Why are people in their early 20s already dealing with anxiety, sleep issues, and constant mental pressure like they're running out of time? And here's the uncomfortable part. What if the problem isn't that you don't know how to get what you want, but that the way you're chasing it is slowly draining you without you even realizing it? Because the more you stay stuck in this cycle, the harder it becomes to feel satisfied, to feel present, even to feel in control of your own mind. And this isn't some long-term, maybe one-day consequence. This is the kind of pattern that quietly builds up until one day you realize you can't focus properly, you can't enjoy things the same way, and you don't even know when that shift happened. So before you figure out how to get whatever you want, you need to understand why the chase itself might be the thing that's taking more from you than it's giving. You're not actually tired, you're overstimulated. And there's a difference most people never realize until it starts affecting everything. Think about it. Why does your mind feel busy even when you've done nothing all day? Why does relaxing feel uncomfortable, like you should be doing something more? That's not ambition, that's pressure you've internalized. And here's where it gets real. This constant need to chase, to check, to stay on. It doesn't just stay in your thoughts, it slowly starts affecting your focus, your sleep, even your ability to enjoy things that used to feel natural. And the scary part is, it doesn't happen all at once. It builds quietly until one day you realize you can't sit still without reaching for distraction. So the question isn't how hard you're trying. It's why your mind doesn't feel at peace even when you stop. Everyone around you looks like they're moving forward. Careers, relationships, plans. It all seems on track. And you're doing things too. Staying busy, staying productive. But it doesn't feel the same when you're alone. Your mind doesn't switch off. Even after a long day, it's still running. Still thinking about what's next, what's missing, what's not enough. And here's the truth most people miss. You're not struggling because you're behind. You're struggling because you never feel like you've arrived. That's why nothing sticks. Not achievements, not moments, not even happiness. Because the second something ends, your mind moves the finish line again. And over time, that creates a gap between the life you're living and the life you're actually feeling. And if that gap keeps growing, you don't just feel lost. You start losing the ability to feel satisfied at all. This isn't a motivation problem. It's a pattern you didn't realize you built. Not in one moment, but in hundreds of small ones. Every time you reach for your phone without thinking, every time silence feels uncomfortable, every time doing nothing makes you feel guilty, you're teaching your brain a rule. Stillness means something is wrong, so your mind adapts. It stops seeking peace and starts seeking interruption. That's why even when life is fine, it doesn't feel fine. Because your brain isn't looking for stability anymore. It's looking for the next spike. And here's where it shifts from harmless to dangerous. When your mind depends on constant input, real life starts to feel slower than it should. And anything slow begins to feel empty. Not because it is empty, but because you've lost tolerance for depth. You don't sit with things long enough to feel them. You move on before they fully register. And over time, this does something most people never notice. It disconnects you from your own experiences. Moments pass, but they don't stay. Wins happen, but they don't land. You're living your life, but not actually feeling it. And the scariest part isn't that you want more. It's that nothing ever feels like enough, even when it should. So the question isn't whether you're chasing too much. It's this. If your mind can't stay with anything long enough to feel it, what exactly are you hoping will finally satisfy you? And here's where most people get it wrong. They think the answer is to push harder. More goals, more effort, more pressure. But that's the trap. You're trying to fix exhaustion by speeding up the thing that's draining you. And the result, you start achieving things you once cared about and feel almost nothing when you get them. Not excitement, not fulfillment, just a quick moment. And then it's gone. That's not normal. That's your reward system burning out. Because when your mind is constantly overstimulated, it stops reacting the way it used to. The bar doesn't just go higher, your ability to feel it goes lower. So now it's not that your life is empty. It's that your mind can't register what's already there. And this is the shift that should scare you. You're no longer chasing because you want more. Chasing because you can't feel enough. Read that again. Because once that line gets crossed, it's not about success anymore. It becomes a silent addiction to next. And next never ends. Now imagine this doesn't stop. Not for a phase. For years. You keep moving forward on the outside, but internally, something starts slipping. Focus doesn't hold the way it used to. Rest doesn't feel like recovery anymore. And slowly, your body starts keeping score. Your mind stays active when it should shut down. Silence feels uncomfortable instead of calming. You don't feel broken. You just don't feel right. And that's what makes it dangerous. Because you normalize it. You tell yourself, this is just life now. But it's not. It's what happens when your system never gets a real pause. And over time, this becomes your baseline. Not calm, not clarity, just a constant low-level pressure in the background. So even when nothing is wrong, it still feels like something is. And if you carry that long enough, you can build a life that looks complete on the outside and still feel disconnected inside it. Not because you failed, but because you lost the ability to feel what you built. And here's the part that should stay with you. It doesn't feel like you're getting worse. It feels like this is who you've become. Most people try to fix their life without fixing how they experience their life. That's why nothing really changes, because this was never about doing more. It was about being present enough to feel what you're already doing. Right now, it's not your life that's out of control. It's your attention. And once your attention is scattered, even good moments stop landing. You can be achieving, improving, moving forward, and still feel like something is missing. Not because it is, but because your mind isn't fully there to register it. That's the shift. Not more effort, not more chasing. You need your mind back. Because when your attention stabilizes, your experience changes instantly. Things don't need to become bigger. They start feeling deeper. And depth is what you've actually been missing this whole time. So the real win isn't getting everything you want. It's being able to feel it when you do. Because without that, you don't have a fulfillment problem. You have a disconnection problem. And once you see that clearly, you stop chasing a better life and start experiencing the one you already have. You're chasing things you wouldn't even feel if you got them. Think about that. How many times have you checked your phone right after achieving something, like the moment didn't even matter? That's the problem. Not that you don't have enough, but that nothing stays long enough to register. That's why even when something good happens, it fades in minutes. So, here's the shift. If it came into your life right now, would you even notice it? Because if the answer is no, then getting more won't fix anything. So start here. Catch the exact moment you're about to escape when you reach for your phone. When your mind jumps ahead, pause, don't move. Stay there just long enough to actually feel what's in front of you. Because if you can't hold a moment, you won't hold the life you're chasing either. You're not stuck. You're getting better at the wrong thing. Better at staying distracted. Better at chasing without questioning. And that's why it feels like progress, but nothing actually changes inside. From the outside, your life moves forward, but internally, nothing lands. No moment stays. No win feels complete because you weren't really there for it. And here's where it hits. You don't notice this while it's happening. You only feel it later. When things that should matter don't. That's the cost. Not failure, disconnection. And once that becomes normal, you don't fix it by getting more. You just get better at not feeling it.